Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another discussion video. It's been a minute since I had like an official discussion video. Usually I don't want to make like a discussion video for just like one single topic. I want to like at least something like this, at least minimum of three, so I can have like uh, a nice, a good chunk of things to talk about here. And this is pretty meaty. Uh, First things first, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to the links in the description below if you want to further support the channel. That's Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Patreon. And yeah. So, first things first, I wanted to get out the way just like in the thumbnail. Moon Knight trailer came out a couple of days ago. I know I'm a little bit late on these, at least a couple of days late for these topics. But after the third topic, that this came up, I figured like, okay, now I can like really compact this. Moon Knight trailer. It is, it blew my mind, honestly. There's a couple of things that like it's like maybe my personal, I wouldn't even call it hangouts, but it's like nitpicks, honestly. And I'm curious to know your thoughts on that, honestly. But overall, I do love it. And I'm looking forward to this a lot. And this, really paved the way for a lot of like, Daredevil shows returning for Disney Plus. If this, it can be violent, but just to that edge before it crosses the R rating. But given how this might take, we can really like set the tone for other shows, like Daredevil and Blade and the other Midnight Suns type of characters. But yeah, Oscar Isaacs playing Mark Spector, who has DID, dissociative identity disorder. Used to be called multiple personality disorder, but that has not since been deemed not an accurate term of the diagnosis. Very I want to say like kind of is a better term for it, but it's pretty much bogged down to mean spirited, and it's like these people need help, and you don't want to demonize kind of their psychosis. But I again like I personally I feel like I'm going to get a lot of Split vibes or Glass. If you watch my reviews on or M. Night Shyamalan's Split movie, check that out on my YouTube channel, along with like Glass and like Unbreakable, one of my few first movie spoiler reviews that I did on the channel when I started doing movie reviews. But this one is gonna be like it's gonna do gangbusters. That's why like I make sure like one of my first comic book reviews was the Moon Knight, the first 5 issues of the Moon Knight short little arc of Welcome to New Egypt, by Jeff Lemire. You definitely check out my review of that on my channel as well, so I can you can hear my thoughts on the comic. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Like everything so far, like man, that the image of Conchu just like coming down that dark hallway chasing after Marcus. He's trying to close the doggone elevator door, and it's like you freaked out, but it turns out to be like an old lady. But you can tell like all this stuff is most of the stuff is in his head, or he's like kind of like Memento vibes. He doesn't know where he's at half the time. He's like had a hard time sleeping, and you want to make sure you tie himself to the bed so you won't go into another personality and go off and do whatever. And the costume looks phenomenal. Now, here's my two nitpicks. One, which is the part of the minorist kind of nitpick, if he at the end of the trailer, you see like the full costume and the frontal face. You're supposed to get for like mummy vibes, but it's like it's kind of because obviously the eyes are all glowy white, kind of like you get off. You can see like a little aura, like a little not steam, but it's kind of like this little smoky kind of like thing in front of the eyes, but you can tell it's obviously got something underneath that to give off that look. But I don't know if the device inside the mask is bulky in some ways, because kind of like the face area seems kind of like padded, and it's like if you don't like just your face is supposed to be bandaged up, it shouldn't be like it should like still be kind of thin, like hugging up to your face almost. It's just like maybe it's just the way it was shot, but it's like I don't know. But my second nitpick is that Oscar Isaac is of Guatemalan descent, and he's playing Mark Spector, aka Moon Knight, who's a known Israelite / Jewish descent individual. And on top of that, Oscar Isaac is doing a British accent, and it's like you can let it slide with the accent, but it's just that I love Oscar Isaac. He's amazing at his job, and I'm obviously going to do incredible in this role. But maybe it's because like I read a fair share of Moon Knight. I'm like a huge avid of like Moon Knight and like super deep cuts. I don't even know his rogues gallery like that. But it's just that you could have like casted, an actual Jewish actor or somebody from Israeli descent in the role of Mark Spector, because they don't have to bring up the Jewishness thing, but it's just that maybe it's just me, but it's just this. It's my take on it. Despite how good an actor he is, it's just that maybe because of his past few years, we've been like Hollywood has been like very like super conscientious, especially after 2020, super conscientious of making sure like voice actors or actors in general are playing roles that it's a little touch and go. It's like an actor should be able to blend into whatever role he's given and he or she is given and do an incredible job regardless. Like you can have a straight person play a gay person in a role and vice versa. But it's just, I don't know. There's certain things that meant for certain people, and it's just like it's hard for me to like I said, it's a nitpick. It's like if he was like a terrible actor, then maybe it would be a lot easier for us to like complain about. But it's just like he's such a good actor. It's just like he can probably knock it out of the park. But it's just it's just like you could have gotten like a Israeli or Jewish descent kind of individual to play this role. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of up and coming actors of that ilk who can like get their name out there and be in like the biggest role of their lives, and hand it to them and like give some shine to like a Jewish or Israeli descended individual for this role. And you having a Guatemalan man doing like a British accent to a Jewish character. It just like you know what I mean? It's just like it's not jiving well in some parts of my brain. the bulk of it can easily let it slide, but it's just something like I just feel like the need to point out is just like kind of odd, but yeah, and it's like I'm curious to know what your take on it. But then, next topic, Josh Whedon, and I had to put this right in the title screen. This dude is a fucking dickhead, like a clueless one at that. After the whole situation that came out with like Gal Gadot and Ray Fisher, about his treatment on the set of the theatrical cut of the Justice League film, and then all the stuff that he's been involved in prior, like not all the stuff, but like things like Firefly and like Buffy and Angel back in the day. This dude's a fucking asshole. He's not like sexual harassing or anything like that, but it's just like the verbal abuse and like the way he carries himself, just like the almost, I want to say, I don't want to paint it in a broad stroke, but just he's carried himself as the antithesis of white privilege or like a Hollywood elite, because he was born, he's a writer, and like he really staked his claim during the 90s with like Buffy and like Angel and the Firefly. But it's like he was born, because I think his father was like a famous like writer in Hollywood, so he's kind of born into this kind of thing. And normally, you hear stories about like writers like struggling just to get their work out there. He probably never had to really struggle, if at all, that much to get some work on his end. But at some point along the way, he was feeling himself so damn much where he figured like he could tell somebody like Gal Gadot, not only a superstar in her own right, and playing one of the most biggest superheroes in history, and on top of that, she's a freaking Israeli commando before she became like a movie star, who he has the nerve to tell her like say what he said, and then like after like telling her like, oh, basically like how like he can make it hard, like do it as I say, because he doesn't want to get any kind of tips when he like is writing his own way. He writers should be confident and directors should be confident in their own stuff, sure, but you should be able to accept feedback. And that's when I went to like voice acting and everything like that, the teachers saying like you can give feedback, and like you working with the director, and it was tit for tat. You listen to them and you give input, and it's like if everything's copacetic, it's a symbiosis. Whedon just like, it's my way or the highway kind of attitude, and I can make it very difficult for you because like blase, and it's like she can crush your head like a fucking melon if she so wanted to. Your body you'll be dead before your ass hit the fucking ground. You talking to her that way, you got some fucking balls on you, and it's just like, where your head at? And it's like, and then after a few years since this, at least couple 2-3 years, since this whole thing went down, he's been relatively quiet. Then on MLK Day, he decided to like, finally address, Ray Fisher and Gal Gadot's points, and he talking about how like, basically what Gal Gadot saying is like, it's kind of like miscommunication. English is not her first language. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You had all this time to like reevaluate your situation and take the time to, at the very least say, I was wrong. Like I'm not Mel Sylvanus, I'm not a racist, but what I did was fucking shitty, and like hope Ray Fisher and Gal Gadot. I said my humblest apologies. I want to make amends. I'm going to work on myself. Hey, Daniel. And it's like, he could have said any of that stuff. The very least, just say he's sorry. But no, he wants to say like, oh, English is not our first language. It's like a basic music communication. Even if that was the fucking case. Even if. Every director and writer throughout the history of Hollywood who has worked with somebody of a different nationality that doesn't speak English as their first language always has somebody there to fucking translate. So that way you can actually communicate to tell like your actors to what they need to do on set and how to like proceed in like a particular scene. Not that fucking hard. Anybody who's anybody can easily just, even if it doesn't have to be like a movie set, there's been people who work like a 9-to-5 job at a grocery store who probably doesn't speak, English, but only speak maybe the Spanish only. I've seen that from time to time. And it's like, I pull somebody that I know who speaks fluent Spanish, pull them aside and have them translate for me so that way I can help better assist kind of situation. That's your first instinct. You don't have to be the one to be able to speak fluent Israeli, like she does. And she speaks fucking good English. And this dude is just like, it boggles the mind, the kind of people like this that can just say wherever and think he was going to, because it's the hubris. That's the thing. It's the hubris that they think he was going to, he can easily get away with that, or like they can brush aside Ray Fisher concerns, especially after 2020, at the whole George Floyd situation and all these riots and all. There's been a reckoning for white privilege and racist assholes, and this dude's, like I said, his head is so far above his own ass, he can't even step outside himself and see what he's done was hurting his peers. But that he's I mean, as soon as he said what he said a couple of days ago, after that point, my first thought process, this dude nuked every and any chance and hope for any comeback redemption. He just obliterated it off the face of the earth. Because from that comment, and it's just like, you're a complete asshole now. And like at this point, you're an unforgivable asshole. And it's like, that's what I'm saying. This is my take on it. He's a complete dickhead. And at this point, he deserves to get ousted. Because there's certain, we all know like cancel culture is an issue. And not everything needs to be canceled. But when cases like, there's a few rare occasions where I actually do feel like, yeah, this dude need to fucking cancel and exile out of society. Because that's not how normal people operate in modern society. Like, Harvey Weinstein is a perfect example of a person that definitely need to be canceled and exit out. Like, fuck him. R. Kelly, perfect example. Fuck him. He needs to be like canceled completely. Fuck him. And Joss Whedon is on the cusp of being on that list, in my opinion, because it's a short list. Not everybody needs to be canceled on every little fucking thing, but it's just like a few rare occasions. Whedon, not Whedon. He's getting close. If he keeps talking like that, he's gonna be on that list. But R. Kelly and Harvey Weinstein is that on those rare occasions where canceling is required for those kind of people. Fuck them. But yeah, I can't believe he said what he said. Honestly, it's like, he's talking like, he's thinking like she won't work in this kind of town again. No, your ass ain't gonna work this kind of town. She'll do just fine. She's pumping out, roles left and right. Where your ass been? Hiding out under a fucking rock because your ass want to, say something that fucking racist and misogynistic and fucking stupid. And you get what you deserve. Anyway, next, last topic, and it just came out I think like earlier today or yesterday. Microsoft bought up Activision, and Activision has been going through their own legal BS in the past couple of years with their sexual harassments and workplace harassments and walkouts and stuff like that. It's been a real. It's probably, come to think of it, it's probably like the reason why we haven't seen like anything from like Overwatch 2 for the past year and a half, because of all this extra bullshit that been going on. And like Microsoft, bought them out like, like $68.7 billion as of yesterday. And in case you don't know what Activision Blizzard kind of games they produce, just for example, Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk, the Pro Skater games, Spyro, Skylanders, World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, Hearthstone, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, and Candy Crush. I was like, I did not know Candy Crush was part of Activision. Honestly, I've never seen that before. I still have Candy Crush on my phone. I play it every once in a while when I'm bored. And, just like just the one of the very few app games I have. Yes, I'm one of those people who still play Candy Crush. Yeah. But yeah, and it's stunning. It's like, I'm pretty sure maybe like, Microsoft will do some reconstructing so far as like but it's like the third. Yeah, you're right, Daniel, but it's like the third, at this point now after the acquisition, it's like, third largest gaming company behind like Sony and Tencent. What the hell is Tencent? What is Tencent? What kind of games do they produce? Probably something I probably haven't even heard of. That's kind of games that they have. League of Legends, I guess. Rocket League, Portal Knights, Minecraft. Okay. City Skylines. So there's a few stuff that I recognize. Yeah. So yeah, there's a few stuff I recognize, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, like it's, and they also got like their hands on like esports, so that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean like right now, like Microsoft's gonna be like it's gonna be like a upwards pivot, especially if they manage to get down to the nitty gritty, because all this sexual harassment going on, workplace harassment been going on, which I don't even know how that is even like plausible in like a fucking gaming company where all eyes are gonna be on them. Not to an extent like someone like a Kardashian or something like that, but the fact that you let that kind of thing ride, and given the fact that, especially after the Me Too movement, a few years back, how the hell are you gonna like do something like that and think like you just gonna get away with that shit? Yeah, like I ain't playing no fucking Candy Crush. Who plays that fucking Candy Crush on a console? At the most, play on your iPad, but I just use my phone and play that doggone thing every once in a while. Speaking of which, Daniel, I did get Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I just downloaded it earlier this morning. It just up and sprang on us. They didn't give like an official release date. They just showed up today, and it's like with no big announcement. But I posted on my Twitter my Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel ID, so that way you can follow me and we can like play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel together and what have you. But yeah, I mean like yeah, like, hopefully, like, Microsoft will, they'll probably have to. They're going to have to do some restructuring, major restructuring, because like, isn't we're not talking about how like poor gaming sales. We're talking about like fucking harassment and walkouts, and it's like I'm pretty sure boycotting along all that stuff. So they gotta make sure the employees are satisfied, get out all the assholes, because I'm pretty sure they probably should long since been fucking fired. But this kind of stuff has been, like in the last like Game Awards show, Jeff Keighley probably, because a lot of jokes been, I've been hearing about like Jeff Keighley kind of like wanting to bite his lip about, because he just want to kind of like stay out of it kind of situation, but he had to address it earlier in the Game Awards show about like in the workplace harassment. Activision is no place for that, blah blah blah. But it's been like carrying on for a couple of years, and Activision's been like very low key when it comes to game releases, and so it's like, yeah. So I'm pretty sure this is gonna be within the next year, minimum. There's gonna be like a complete like revitalization. There's gonna be a big boom with Microsoft related stuff within the next year. So if you want to know like all this wellspring of like all this gaming content and DLCs out the yin yang, all this stuff, Microsoft. All Microsoft, I mean, like what, like big boom with Activision, I should say. The big boom with Activision stuff, is Microsoft. But yeah, this is my takes on like Moon Knight trailer, Joss Whedon asshole, and the Microsoft acquiring Activision. So like, let me know your thoughts on each one of those subjects. I'll see you in a few minutes. I have one more video to put out, something just like a fun thing that I want to talk about, and it runs in perfect timing to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel release, because like it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Related discussion that I want to have. It's probably not gonna be too long, but at least 30 minutes at the most. But join me in like at least 2-3 minutes. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. And take care. Have a great evening.